We're moving into section 4.6, which is writing slope-intercept form. As a reminder, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So now we have 2 points. We have to find the equation of the line. And the first thing we need to do is we need to find the slope. So in order to find the slope, remember we take 9 minus 6 and negative 5 minus 0. So 9 minus 6 over negative 5 minus 0. Well, 9 minus 6 is 3. Negative 5 minus 0 is negative 5. So now I know my slope is 3 over negative 5, or negative 3/5. Either way works. So I now need to look for my b. And remember, my b is my y-intercept. And what I know about my y-intercept is that if I have a y-intercept, it would be 0, y, because that is where it crosses the y-axis. And luckily I have one of those as my equation. So in this case, that number is going to be 6. Now all I have to do is plug it into y equals mx plus b form, where my y stays constant equals m, which would be my negative 3/5, x stays constant, and then I've got plus 6. Since the 6 is positive, it becomes a plus 6. That is my equation. I'm going to move to the next one, and I'm going to find my slope first. So I'm going to do a negative 9 minus a negative 3, which becomes plus, over 0 minus 4. So I now have a negative 6 over a negative 4, which I can reduce to a negative 3 over a negative 2, and since it's a negative over a negative, that becomes positive. My slope is now 3 over 2, and I can look to find my y-intercept, which is going to be negative 9. So my equation becomes y equals a positive 3 over 2x minus 9, since this is a negative 9. Okay. Again, I'm going to do 8 minus 8 over a negative 7 minus 0. In this case, 8 minus 8 is 0 over a negative 7, which 0 over negative 7 actually equals 0. When my 0 is my numerator, remember my slope is just 0. So I'm going to go ahead and make my slope a 0, and my b would be right here, so it's going to be 8. So I now have y equals m, which would be 0x plus 8. Now, I don't necessarily need the 0x. It really goes away. So my equation is actually just y equals 8. And when we know about that, it's going to be a straight line through the y-axis at positive 8. So that would be a 0 slope. Okay, moving on, I'm going to do 7 minus 3 over 5 minus 0, which would be 4 over 5. So that becomes my slope. My b, again, is going to be my 0, 3. And so my equation becomes y equals 4/5 x plus 3. Now, if both of these are not 0, I do have a way where I can plug them into the equation. I could take my slope and I could plug in, and I could say, I could pick a number, 7/5, and that would be my x, or 5 is my x, 7 is my y, and then my m is 4/5. I can plug that in, and I can say 7 equals 4/5 x, which would be 5, plus b, in order to find my b. Now, I can take 4/5 times 5, which is going to give me, let me move this down a little bit, 7 equals, that would be 20 over 5, which is 4, plus b, and I would subtract my 4. And here I find that 3 equals b, which we knew already, but that is in case that you do not have one of your ordered pairs where the y value, or the x value, I'm sorry, is 0. Okay, moving on to my graph. First thing I need to do is find my slope. I think the easiest way to do this with a graph is to do your rise over run. So I know that I am going down, so that means that a negative. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a negative 4/7. My B is my y-intercept. So where does that point cross my y-intercept? And this one is actually not perfect. So we're going to have to use one of my points like I just did on the last one. So let's go ahead and use this guy right here, which the ordered pair is 5, 1. And remember, that's my x and my y. So I have y equals mx plus b. So that becomes 1 equals 5 times a negative 4/7 plus b. So 1 equals a negative 20 over 7, because I just multiplied my fraction, plus b, which means I would have to add 20 over 7 to both sides. And let's change this to 7 over 7 because it's the same thing as 1, which gives me 27 over 7 equals b. And you can go ahead and leave it as a fraction, or you can turn it to a mixed number, which we know would be 3, because my 7 goes into 27 3 times, which is 21, and 6 left over, 3 6/7. So my new equation, that's 3 6/7, or 27 over 7. My new equation is y equals negative 4/7 x plus, I'm going to go ahead and put 27 over 7. And that becomes my equation. Now this one, again, is going to be a little bit easier. When I look at my slope, a line straight up and down, that means that my m is undefined. When my slope, there is no slope there. So I know that I'm going through at negative 3. There is not a point on this y-axis where we cross. So that means there is no b, so there is none there. So my equation becomes x equals negative 3, because I know that I do not cross the y-axis, but I do cross the x-axis on that one. And our last one of the day, again, I'm going to do my rise over run. It is a positive slope, so I'm going to go up 2. I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2/7 is my point, and you can see that again, it doesn't cross perfectly, so we're going to have to plug that in. Let's use the points, and I'd prefer to use positive, so I'm going to pick this point right here. So that would be 3, 3. So let's plug that in, and remember that's my x and my y. Y equals mx plus b. So that would be 3 equals 3 times 2/7 plus b. Oh, and I think I actually switched those around for you guys. You can have those forward or backwards, it doesn't matter. So now 3 equals, if that's 3 over 1, 3 equals 6/7 plus b. I'm going to have to subtract 6/7 from both sides. And my 3 I need to turn into a common fraction. I'm going to actually turn it into 2 7/7, because that would be 2 plus 1. So 2 7/7 minus 6/7 is going to give me 2 1/7 is going to be equal to b. So 2 1/7. Or you could have turned it into 3 over 1 and then 21 over 7. And you, in that case, would get 15 sevenths. So y equals m, which is 2/7, x plus 2 1/7, or you could have it as a improper fraction. Okay, we'll talk more about it in class.